In 539 AD, King Cyrus the Great founded the Achaemenid Persian Empire. His successors would conquer lands far and wide. Then, they came in contact with the sovereign city-states ruled by the Greeks. The proverbial Goliath was about to be taught a lesson in humility by little old David. First, let me set the scene a bit. In the 5th century AD, Greeks lived mostly in their isolated city-states. Sometimes they battled each other, and other times they traded and supported one another. But soon, a shadow started looming from the east. It was the great Persian Empire ruled by the Achaemenid dynasty. The Persian Empire was no small fry. It was the largest empire the world had ever seen at that time. The first Greek cities to fall into the Persian grasp were the ones in ancient Ionia, or modern-day Turkey. The Ionian cities soon revolted, sparked by a combination of heavy taxation, political oppression, and a desire for self-governance. You know, the usual grievances that lead to a good old-fashioned uprising. But reality is never that simple. There's more to this story than meets the eye. So, grab some popcorn because shit is about to get cray-cray. The Ionian city-states, located along the western coast of modern-day Turkey, found themselves under the thumb of the Persian Empire. Geographically, these cities were strategically located along the Aegean Sea, making them vital trade hubs. This coastal position not only enriched them, but also made them a target for Persian expansion. The Persians were keen on controlling these lucrative trade routes by any means necessary. So, around 540 BC, they conquered the Ionian cities and appointed local tyrants to rule them. But around 499 BC, the Ionian Greeks decided to take matters into their own hands and revolted. It was a classic case of enough is enough, or that's what some historians would have you believe. You see, at the end of the 5th century BC, a man named Aristagoras became the tyrant of the city of Miletus. In 499, he wanted to strengthen his position with his Persian overlords and make a quick buck, so he persuaded the Persians to embark on a joint quest to conquer the city of Naxos. The mission was supposed to be a walk in the park, but it ended up being a complete failure, and Aristagoras knew his time as the ruler of Miletus was about to come to an end. So what did he do? He decided to instigate the whole of Ionia into rebelling against the Persians. I mean, you gotta hand it to the guy. He was obviously a hustler extraordinaire. Sometimes I wish I was as good of a sweet talker as Aristagoras was. Maybe then I could persuade you to click that subscribe button, or at least like the video. Never mind, I know you'll do it sooner or later. Back to the story. So, because Aristagoras didn't want to relinquish his rule, he inadvertently started a series of events that would change the course of history and shape the world as we know it. You see, the Ionian Revolt and the ensuing Greco-Persian Wars are extremely important, because they became one of the cornerstones upon which the Greek national identity was built. Before this, the Greek city-states were pretty much separate entities, not so much a nation. However, the overreaching tentacles of the Persian Empire made the Greeks unite against a common threat. Before their fight was over, they would have waged some of the most famous battles this world has ever seen. To understand what made the Greeks unite, you have to realize that the Ionian Revolt was not just a local issue. The Persian Empire was expanding rapidly, and all of the Greek city-states were beginning to feel the pressure. The Ionian Revolt was like the spark that ignited a powder keg of tension between the Greek city-states and the Persian Empire. And even though Aristagoras may have had ulterior motives, he couldn't have convinced the people to rebel if they didn't want to. The Greeks had no way of knowing that they just made a turning point in history, and that they were about to embark on a new era that would echo through the ages. Aristagoras' plan was bold. He wanted to be the one to strike first. But before he could do that, he needed allies. Amazingly, he managed to persuade Athens and Eretria, two powerhouses in the ancient Greek world, to aid the rebellion. So, in 498 BC, the combined forces of Ionia, Athens, and Eretria attacked, sacked, and burned the city of Sardis. Now, Sardis was not just any city, it was the capital of Lydia and a major stronghold of the Persian Empire. Think of it as the Persian equivalent of a bustling metropolis, complete with wealth, power, and a strategic location. Its fall would send shockwaves throughout the empire and serve as a rallying point for the Ionians and their allies. The attack on Sardis was bold and audacious. The combined forces of the Ionians, Athenians, and Eretrians stormed the city, overwhelming the Persian garrison. Once inside, they set the city ablaze, reducing it to ashes. This act of defiance was not just about destroying a city. It was a powerful statement against Persian oppression. The flames that engulfed Sardis symbolized the burning desire for freedom and autonomy among the Greek city-states. However, the immediate consequences of this event were far-reaching. The destruction of Sardis sent a clear message to the Persian Empire. The Greeks were not to be underestimated. This act of rebellion ignited a fierce response from the Persians, who were determined to reassert their control over the region. The burning of Sardis marked a turning point in Persian-Greek relations, escalating tensions that would eventually lead to full-scale war. In the aftermath, the Persians sought revenge, launching military campaigns to quell the rebellion and punish those involved in the uprising. The alliance between the Ionians, Athens, and Eretria would be tested as the Persian Empire retaliated, setting the stage for a series of conflicts that would shape the course of history. The sacking of Sardis was not just a moment of triumph for the rebels. It was the beginning of a fierce struggle that would put both sides to the ultimate test. However, the real game-changer in this conflict was the collaboration between the Ionian cities, Athens, and Eretria. And I will come back to that later on. First, let's see how the Persians handled the fall of Sardis. After the unexpected burning of Sardis, they were determined to crush the rebellion and reassert their dominance over the Ionian city-states. The stage was set for a showdown, and by the year 494 BC, the Persians were ready to show the Greeks who was boss. The first major battle to be fought was a naval battle near the island of Lade. Under the command of the experienced General Datis, the Persians employed a well-coordinated strategy during the Battle of Lade. They had learned from previous encounters and were keen to exploit the weaknesses of the Ionian fleet. The Persians utilized a combination of superior numbers and tactical formations, deploying their ships in a crescent shape to encircle the Ionian vessels. This maneuver effectively cut off the Ionians from retreating and allowed the Persians to launch a concentrated assault. The Persian ships were also equipped with experienced sailors and well-trained crews, giving them a significant advantage in naval combat. As the battle raged on, the Ionian fleet found itself outmatched and outmaneuvered. Despite their bravery and determination, the Ionians struggled to maintain cohesion in the face of the Persian onslaught. The defeat at Lade was catastrophic for the Ionian forces, leading to the disintegration of their fleet. This loss not only marked the end of organized resistance at sea, but also had dire consequences for the Ionian Revolt as a whole. With their naval power shattered, the Ionians were left vulnerable to Persian retaliation, and the momentum of the revolt began to wane. The fall of Miletus soon followed, as the city was besieged and ultimately captured by the Persians. The consequences of this defeat rippled through the Ionian cities, instilling fear and despair among those who had dared to rise against their rulers. The loss of Miletus was particularly significant, as it was one of the leading cities in the revolt and a symbol of Ionian resistance. Its fall sent a clear message to other Greek city-states. The Persian Empire was not to be trifled with. The broader implications of the Battle of Lade and the fall of Miletus were profound. The defeat weakened the resolve of other Greek city-states, leading many to reconsider their stance against Persian dominance. The Persian Empire, emboldened by its victory, solidified its control over Ionia and sent a chilling warning to any would-be rebels. This pivotal moment in history set the stage for the ongoing struggle between Greece and Persia, ultimately leading to the larger conflicts that would define the era. The Ionian Revolt was a bold uprising by the Ionian city-states against the oppressive rule of the Persian Empire. Understanding it is essential for grasping the larger narrative of the conflicts that would follow. The themes of resistance, autonomy, and the struggle for identity that emerged during this period continue to resonate in modern discussions about governance and freedom. The revolt served as a catalyst for future Greek unity against a common enemy, ultimately shaping the course of Western civilization. Now, if you remember, I said that the most important aspect of the Ionian Revolt was the union of Ionian cities with Athens and Eretria. On one hand, this was the first time in history that the Greeks acted as a nation. On the other hand, Persia now had a good excuse to attack the two city-states in retaliation. How dare they aid the rebels? Persian reconquering of Ionia was not the end of the war. Not by a long shot. It was merely the beginning. Now the Persians were mad, and all their might and wrath were poised to descend upon the Greek world. In today's terms, The shit was about to hit the fan, and if you don't want to miss that, hit that subscribe button and join me next time.